What's good, everybody? My name is Kalen, joined by my co-host Luke, and this is the Huddle Break podcast. How you doing today, Luke?
I'm fantastic, my friend. How about yourself?
I'm good. I my summer semester's ending. A week until it's all over. Got 3 classes coming to an end. That'll be my last semester at college, so it's
Love
exciting.
that for
It's
you.
exciting.
That's
Almost
awesome.
done. Uh, but yeah, I'm really excited for the show today. We're nearing the end of June, and football is right around the corner. Training camp started. Before we know it, we'll be in some preseason football Sunday games. I'm
I can't
so
wait.
excited, dude. Like, oh, I'm shaking just thinking about it.
Let's
Got a
go.
fantastic episode planned for today. Lots to talk about. Lots to talk about. We're gonna start off with the Olympics. Um, then we'll go right into some football news after that. About Aaron Rodgers, the Packers, Deshaun Watson, the Texans. For the first time, we're going to talk about some college football. We talked a little bit about it in the draft, but that's not really diving deep into it. And what's been going on with the SEC and whatnot. Then we'll be breaking down the NFC by division, just like we did last week with the AFC. So if you missed that, go ahead and check out episode 5 to see how Luke and I predicted the AFC. But, yeah, let's just jump right into the first topic of the day. The Olympics are going on the past week and a half, I guess. No, there's a week left, so probably just a week. We have we as in the U.S. have 38 medals between gold, silver, and bronze. We're dominating swimming and shooting. Believe it or not, the U.S. is dominating shooting. We got a gold in fencing, surfing, taekwondo, basketball, and gymnastics as well. Have you been paying attention? If so, what have you been watching the most, Ray?
Yeah, it's been actually a really good Olympics. There's been some really good matches. The thing I love about the Olympics most is like all the like random sports that you don't think of, like men's indoor volleyball, women's, and I guess men's too. Beach volleyball is really cool. The surfing's really fun. We had a gold medal winner in surfing, which was great. We had a silver medal in softball, I believe it was. We lost to Japan in the finals. We had some cool golds recently. I know what is his name? Fink is a swimmer. He had an incredible comeback in the was it 800? I want to say 800 meter. He had an
Yeah,
incredible comeback in swimming. Also in swimming, Caleb Dressel had an awesome gold medal against the defending champion Kyle Chalmers from Australia. Gymnastics has also been really interesting. This morning, or I guess night in Tokyo, but Suni Lee of America just won the individual all around gold medal for gymnastics. So props to her on that. That was really incredible. We have some awesome gymnasts. We also won silver medal in the team all around for gymnastics. Um, what was the other sport we were talking about? Oh, diving we did really well as well.
yeah. It's
And
it's mostly been swimming for us. Swimming has been really entertaining. I
mm-hmm.
think swimming's only really entertaining for the average fan at the Olympics because it's the only time that we have anything to care about.
Right.
It's the only time we'll be invested. And last night when Ryan Fink, he was in the last 50 meters, man. He just gassed everyone. I couldn't believe he won that gold. I was watching my dad, and when there was about 6 laps left, I think it was since it was 800, it was 16 total laps. So when there was like 10 down, my dad's like, yeah, he's not gonna win. He was in like fourth place. Come the last 50 meters, man, he just put it in like he just put it in nitro and just gassed everyone and took the gold, man. Huge upset. It was incredible. It was so fun. And then just later that night, in the 4x200 females, in the last leg, Katie Ledecky, when she hit the water, the U.S. was in fifth place, and in those 200 meters that she swam, she brought us all the way to the silver medal. And if she had gone another 25 meters, we would have gotten a gold. She was gassing
Absolutely.
everybody, bro. And it's for some reason like so entertaining. You just feel so like proud of your country when you win a gold. You're just like so happy because you're like, yeah, we're better than this country and that country. We're the best. It's a good feeling.
Exactly.
It's a good feeling. I've
Yep.
been highly entertained, and I think that anyone who's not watching the Olympics is missing out.
Yeah, and how about the USA men's basketball? It's been a bit of a roller coaster. We
Yeah,
took the L to France. However, we absolutely crushed Iran and I believe we're playing the Czech Republic either tonight or tomorrow, and that should be a really good match, and that's to make the tournament essentially because it's group play right now.
Yeah.
But USA basketball is starting to get their chemistry together. Damian Lillard's playing amazing. KD's playing well. I'm excited to see what they do, and I really hope we play Slovenia because Luka Doncic is absolutely on a
He's
Olympic tear
cooking.
right now.
Cooking.
So I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah, me too, man. I'm gonna keep watching. Be watching every day. I've been found myself really engulfed in the Olympics, so I wish there were spectators, because I feel like
Yeah.
the crowd really does help. I understand why there's not, obviously, but hopefully the next Olympics there's gonna be spectators and we can really get that crowd feel, because it's amazing watching it, especially when like home teams like Japan would win, and the crowd just goes crazy. It's extremely entertaining. But yeah, I think that'll wrap up the Olympics for us. We're gonna hop into our second topic of the day, where we're gonna talk about football news. And we're talking about Aaron Rodgers playing, how he plans to play for the Packers in 2021. It'll be sort of their last dance, is what people are saying. What are your thoughts on this whole situation, right?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's been kind of a roller coaster, a little soap opera throughout the entire summer. I thought his press conference was fascinating. His opening statement, which is was pretty good length, and he mentioned all of these former veteran Packers players who were simply mistreated on their way out, such as Charles Woodson and Julius Peppers. I saw something interesting about Julius Peppers, future Hall of Famer, is that he had about 7 sacks his last year at the Packers. The Packers wouldn't re-sign him. The very next year, he went back to the Panthers, who he originally was with, and dropped 11 sacks his final year in the NFL. And so it's situations like that where I think Aaron Rodgers was really sort of not too happy with the Packers organization of how they're treating a lot of these players and not giving them deals. Micah Hyde, another one, went on to the Buffalo Bills, and now he's playing at an elite level as a safety. And I think that it sort of boiled over, and Aaron Rodgers put his foot down and said, enough is enough here. And it's going to be interesting to see if he'll play the year after, because right now it's looking like this might be his last year in a Packers uniform.
Yeah, it was an extremely intelligent press conference. When it first came out and you were getting clips of things, he kind of looked like a douchebag. But when you watch the whole thing, it was actually probably one of the most like well thought out and intelligent press conferences that I've ever watched from a QB. And it made me view the whole thing completely differently. I had to go back and delete a tweet because I was like, okay, I understand why he said all this and said it this way, and made me see everything from a new light. Um, I doubt he plays next year for them. I think that is part of the deal, is that, it's like this is his last dance.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna give them one last year, see what he can do, and if they can maybe win a chip, we'll see. We'll be talking more about the Packers season later this episode. But next, we're going to be talking about the Texans announced that they are open to trade away Deshaun Watson. Now, fill me in what you've heard about that, right?
Yeah, so the reports coming in this morning out of Texans camp is that they've been putting Deshaun Watson in like random positions in practice. Today he was a safety, which I'm not sure what's going on there. The other day they had Tyrod Taylor, the backup quarterback for the Texans, or maybe the starter now, throwing balls to Deshaun Watson. So I'm not exactly sure what they're doing over there. To be fair, I don't think a lot of people know what the Texans have been doing the past few years, personnel wise. But yeah, I mean, let's be honest. I think a lot of people figured that they'd be open to trading him, especially, he's going to get a lot of value and he doesn't want to play for the organization. They were just trying to save face and act all smart.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I'm not surprised that they're finally wanting to trade him. It'll be interesting though. See where
Where
he goes. Where do you think? Where do you think he's going to go, Kalen?
I have no idea where he'll go.
Yeah.
Um, I'd assume that their relationship with him is not in a good spot, and so they're not going to want to send him somewhere he'll win. I don't think they'll send him somewhere in the AFC. So, in my mind, I think like likelihood places he'll go are like 49ers, Saints, Panthers. Those three teams are, I
Hmm.
think you go to any of those three teams, probably the first two most likely. I think the scariest destination for him would either be like the Patriots or the Niners. I think those two teams, with a quarterback like Deshaun Watson, would just be unbelievably good. What about you? Where do you think he might end up?
Yeah, I could definitely see any of those teams. I think the Saints makes a lot of sense. NFC already some good weapons, sort of in a transition phase with their quarterback anyway. I would say though, watch out for the Broncos. I think the Broncos could be in play. They're known for getting big free agent QB signings, i.e., Peyton Manning.
Yeah,
I definitely think the Broncos could be in play. And if he goes to the Broncos, they're not going to be immediately dominating. They are a good team, but they've got Chiefs and Chargers in their division.
that would be a
So
ridiculous conference.
yeah, no, that that division would actually be stacked. That would be insane.
Yeah, imagine Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson, then you got Derek Carr goofing around in the background. It'd be like
Mm.
that. It'd be like the picture of those three snakes, and then one of them's a goofball. That'd be Derek Carr.
That's great.
But yeah, I do like watching Deshaun Watson play football. He's extremely talented. He's a top talent in the NFL. I don't want to see his career die away. Um, all the allegations surrounding him and the drama and the legal issues, I really have no idea about any of it. I feel like the NFL knows something we don't, or they wouldn't be letting him play because they've held out players for a lot less, you know. So I feel like if the NFL wasn't sure that he had some innocence in this, that he would not be allowed to play this season. So I guess we'll just have to see how everything pans out. But we're going to jump into our next topic for now, which is going to be the college football SEC Super Conference. So pretty much anyone who doesn't really follow college football, the University of Texas and Oklahoma have joined the SEC. They pretty much got approval from their boards, and they requested approval from the SEC. I think it was yesterday. The SEC is looking for teams like Ohio State, Michigan, Florida State, Clemson, and USC to all join the SEC as well, which would mean essentially the top 15 to 20 programs from college football would all be in one conference, and it would create a super conference within college football. Uh, first thoughts, what do you think about this possibility, Raymond?
I mean, I don't hate it. I think it'll be interesting to have some more competition right now in the SEC. It's kind of like Alabama's at the top. I mean, Florida's always kind of in the mix of things, but I'm definitely excited to see some more sort of, I don't know, some more mix of teams. It's gonna be fun to see. I'm always as a sports fan, I'm always down for new stuff. I'm always down for new flair, new exciting teams and conferences and stuff. So it'll be cool to see. But I know you're the big college buff. So what do you think about it?
So, I, of course, I can acknowledge and accept that it'll be extremely entertaining. It'll be great for the players making money, within the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
Players coming to the NFL will be a lot more ready for the NFL because they'll be competing at a way higher level throughout their whole college career. However, I think it'll destroy the rest of college football because the thing is, with players being able to make, or college athletes being able to make money now, why would any 4 or 5 star recruit choose to go to a school like Texas Tech where there will be a fraction of the money, a fraction of the competition, and like they would never choose a school like that over any school in the SEC. The recruiting will be completely SEC driven, other than people who are maybe from like their hometown want to play there. So 90% of 4 and 5 star players, let's say there's 3,000 a year, 2,700 of them are going to go to the SEC, and it'll destroy any team that's not in the SEC, and it'll destroy how much money these schools make from their athletics. Like schools like Texas Tech, schools like Baylor, TCU, UCLA, Iowa State, UW, all those schools that make a lot of money from their college football athletics. It'll cut it in half because no, they won't be able to recruit any good players anymore, and all the money is going to be in the SEC, and that's all anyone will care about. So I think that it's not good for college football as a whole. I think obviously it'll be extremely entertaining for SEC fans, but I think it's a negative as a whole for college
Like
football.
overall, interesting, huh? I like that take. That's interesting.
I'm not excited for it because What kid is gonna, if you're from Texas, are you gonna go to the University of Texas where you can get, sponsorships and deals where you can make $1 million before you graduate from college? Or are you going to go to Texas Tech or Baylor where your level of play, you'll be the best player in the entire conference rather than not even a top 50 player? You'll barely get any money from endorsements and sponsorships. You'll get like local commercials, stuff like that. You're going to make, let's say, a tenth of the money, a fifth of the money even. Why would you do that as a college athlete? Why would you cut yourself short? It'll destroy recruiting, and that'll destroy athletics everywhere except the SEC. And I just think it's worse for football, especially college.
Very well said.
But yeah, that is my take on it. I'm sure anyone who's an SEC fan disagrees because they don't really care about other schools. But I don't like it. But we're gonna go ahead and move on to the NFC. We're gonna be breaking it down division by division. I'm sure this will cheer me up after getting kind of annoyed thinking about the college football being ruined for me. Uh, I'm really excited for this. I loved last week. I'm sure we're gonna love this week. We're gonna start it off with the NFC North. We've got the, probably most hopeless team in the NFL, up there with the Texans for sure. Probably the most hopeless team in the NFC. We're gonna start off with the Lions. Where do you see their season going?
Yeah, so the Lions are kind of in a transition phase right now. They've got Jared Goff from the Rams. They've got some intriguing pieces, to say the least. They got Penei Sewell in the draft. But I think right now they're just not there. I'm not really sure what they're doing with their organization and their coaching staff. I'm not really a big fan of either Dan Campbell. I don't know. He seems a little bit of a loose cannon. I'm not really sure what they're really doing there, but we'll see. Maybe I just don't see the vision. Right now I've got them going 4-13 this year. And just they're kind of in a transition phase.
Yeah, they are definitely in a transition phase. They've got Jared Goff coming from the Rams. His whole career has been with Sean McVay, and Sean McVay has made him look extremely usable. I don't think he's an above average quarterback. I'd have him like the bottom 10. And I think with this uh Lions team where, it's probably an average offensive line, they're not going to be above average. He's going to be throwing to Tyrell Williams and Brashard Perriman as his wide receiver 1 and 2. Those are wide receiver 2s and 3s on other teams. If that. It's a weak defense. It'll be a weak offense. It's a hard division. They play the entire NFC West along with probably losing all 6 of their divisional games. I don't see them having a good season. Probably the worst in the NFL. I have them at 1-16. I just I don't see them doing well. But yeah, so we both have not high hopes in the Lions. You had them 3-14, I had them 1-16. Not too
4-13, but yeah.
4-13. Sorry. Same thing. Let's move on to the next team in the NFC North, which I think could be one of the most exciting to watch. Let's move on to the Bears. Where do you see them going this year?
I think the Bears. This is Ryan Pace, the GM, and the head coach's last chance.
Yeah.
I'm blanking on his name, but this is their last chance. And I don't know. So they got rid of Mitch Trubisky and they put Andy Dalton as QB1, and now they drafted Justin Fields, who I do think is a great draft pick, and I'm excited for the future. I expect Justin Fields to start very early. But I think throwing him out there like that is good for him. Maybe not necessarily great for the team in the short term, but great for him to get reps. And I think, it's sort of a transition year for them too, personally. I think
Yeah.
they're going to get all new coaching staff after this. I have them at 5-12. I don't see them doing too much, but I'm sure Justin Fields will kind of make some exciting games.
How early do you see him coming in? How many games?
I'm sorry, coming in.
How many games until he comes in, you think?
Oh, I honestly think like week 2, week 3, he'll come in.
Really?
Yeah.
Matt Nagy, he's proven me wrong a lot about how I thought highly of him for a while, what he was doing with Mitch Trubisky. But
agreed.
I think that he's gonna have Andy Dalton start in probably the first 6 games, and I think that they'll go like 2-4. Maybe the first 5, and maybe they'll go 1-4. I just don't see them winning with Andy Dalton. And then I think Justin Fields is going to come in, and it's going to be like that Browns year where Baker came in and they just started rocking the world. And I think that Justin Fields will come in and they'll go like 7-4 with him as a starter and end off the season like 9-8. I think Justin Fields is a great prospect. I think that he is going to be a fantastic leader in Chicago and really change this team's entire dynamic. Uh, David Montgomery is still the running back one for this team. He looked fantastic at the end of 2020. He was playing phenomenally. And if Justin Fields can step into that leadership role and just be a consistent high end QB, top 15 is all they need to be a successful team.
Yeah.
So I have them at 9-8 at the end of the year. That's with me being extremely high on Justin Fields. If he doesn't turn out to be that guy, then they could easily be that 5-12, like you said. So it could go either way.
And keep in mind, I do think he will be that guy. I just think it'll take him at least a full season.
Yeah, you could see that. All right, and we were talking about this team earlier. We're gonna move into the Packers. Aaron Rodgers is playing, and this might be his last dance up in Green Bay. I don't see their season being much different than last season. I see them dominating the NFC North, being a consistently good team in the NFC. Got them going 12-5 and winning the NFC North. They retained most of their roster from last year, and they really did choke away a trip to the Super Bowl. That NFC Championship game up in Green Bay could have gone either way. Obviously, it's hard to beat Tom Brady in a playoff setting. He's a legend in the playoffs and regular season, but I think that they'll have a similar season next year, and the playoffs are going to determine everything, just like it did last year. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. I have them at 14-3. I'm looking at their schedule. I mean, they've definitely got some tough games, but I think they can take the vast majority of the teams they're playing here. Definitely have them winning the division at the very least. And that's, again, it kind of turned into kind of a playoff struggle. Same story every year. They're sort of turning into the kind of the Ravens of the NFC, where they kind of dominate in the regular season and then they kind of fizzle out in the playoffs. And I'm not really sure why that is, because they're strong. They've got a great playoff environment, in Lambeau Field there. And I'm not going to say it's Aaron Rodgers' problem. I don't know if it's not good defense or what, man, but yeah, I can definitely see them losing second or third round in the playoffs, and Aaron Rodgers still says, well, sorry, I'm looking for something more, y'all, and just packing it up,
Yeah. And the reason I have them for 5 losses is they play in a pretty competitive division. The Bears and the Vikings will always give them a run for their money. I mean, even last year, the Lions, who were not a great team, were giving them a run for their money. They almost beat them in that second game they played last year in Detroit. And they also have to play the entire NFC West. So that's just going to be extremely difficult. They play in San Francisco, and I believe they play in LA against the Rams. And I think those are two of the best teams in the NFC, and I think that those will be two of the teams that can beat them, as well as some random games. They'll lose like 2 random games across the season. That just is how football works. So yeah, I think we're seeing eye to eye though, and that they're going to be the most successful team in this division. We're going to move on to the final team in the NFC North, which is the Vikings. Where do you think this Vikings season will go?
Yeah, it's weird. I definitely think they move off Kirk Cousins after this season. It's just like not working. I don't know. Dalvin Cook's a beast, and they got some great receivers, but I don't know, dude. I think they're gonna finish anywhere from like 4-13 to like 7-10. I don't know. Dude, the Vikings are weird, man. They're one of those teams that on paper should do good, and then they just fizzle out in the regular season. They can never get any momentum. I don't know. It's weird. So I definitely think they move off Kirk Cousins after this season.
Well, I think that their offense is not the thing that needs to be touched. They had not historically bad, but for the Vikings, it was a historically bad defense last year. They were the 29th ranked defense last year. And they really didn't do much to address it. They added Patrick Peterson, who it's a big name, but he didn't have a great 2020. So it's not like they're adding in some superstar who's coming off a really good season. They're adding an ex superstar who's coming off a pretty bad season. Kirk Cousins had a phenomenal 2020 as well as a phenomenal 2019. He's one of those guys who you get what you get every year. You're gonna get those consistently above average numbers every single year. I mean, he had 105 QBR last year. Like he puts up crazy numbers, especially with these weapons that he's had these last few years with Stephon Diggs, Adam Thielen, and now Justin Jefferson. I have them going 8-9. They didn't touch their defense up enough to change anything. I don't see them being successful until they focus more on their defense because I don't think Kirk Cousins is the issue at all. I think that he is an extremely above average quarterback. He's still got some time on him, and I think that if they can straighten out this defense, they could easily be a playoff team. But yeah, so I had them going 8-9. You said anywhere from 5-12 to 7-10, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
So yeah, uh, I guess we'll have to see. I wouldn't be surprised either way. Their defense, if it's as bad as it was last year, they're not going to be a good team, and that's just the fact of the matter. But we're going to be moving on to the NFC South, which is Ray Swag's home. So I'm going to be letting him lead off each team here, but we're going to start with the Saints. How do you have the Saints season going?
Dude, the Saints are a train wreck right now, man. Do they even have rosters positions? Like, do they even have players to fill roster positions? What? So we have injury to Mr. Can't Guard Mike himself, Mike Thomas.
Yeah.
What did Emmanuel Sanders injury too? I mean, or no, sorry. Who's the other receiver that just got hurt today? I forgot his name. Was it Deontay Wright?
Maybe. I've been in class all day. I have no idea. I
Yeah,
haven't been on
no, it was
Twitter.
like breaking news today. It was like their second or their third string. And so he got hurt today. And they lost Emmanuel Sanders, who went to the Bills. It's really interesting, man. And they're still trying to figure out what we're doing at quarterback. I guess Jameis Winston's going to be their quarterback. So right now I got him at 2-15, which I know is super low. Yeah, I think they have an abysmal year because I don't think they know what they're doing right now.
Dude, the thing is, you can't, like, as much as you're right about they're definitely, struggling with the roster.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that team was in the playoffs last year, and they gave Brady a run for his money in the playoffs with Drew Brees playing like an idiot. Like he just was clearly it was his last game.
Well, I would just come back to say that I don't think he was playing like an idiot. He just was limited physically of how far he could throw. I think in terms of his smarts, I think he was still way up there.
Yeah, I guess that's not wasn't the word for it. I didn't mean that like.
No, you're good. I hear. I got what you're saying, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see Jameis versus Taysom, who's gonna. And 2-15 might be really low. I was looking at their schedule and I'm like, well, they lose here. And I should say Deontay Harris was what I was thinking of, and he got arrested for DUI. So he'll be suspended a few games for sure.
Okay.
And then Michael Thomas's surgery is now happening later than expected, so they might not have him.
Yeah.
So maybe they will win more games. Well, maybe they'll surprise me. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean the thing is for me, this team is above average quarterback play from being an extremely good team, like top of the line 12 plus win team. Sorry, excuse me. And I do not believe like that Taysom Hill or Jameis Winston is the quarterback to bring them to that promised land. I have them going 7-10 this year. Their defense is still pretty good. They've got Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas will play at some point. Also, Sean Payton is an extremely good coach. He knows how to win games with or without a good quarterback, and he will scheme things that will win them games regardless. I don't see them only winning 2 games, bare minimum, probably 5 for me.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously that could happen if they do actually become the train wreck that, could be. So I guess we'll just have to see. I'm excited to see him play. I'm excited to see what Sean Payton schemes up for Taysom Hill. I wonder how much usage he's gonna get this year, even if Jameis is starting. I would like to see. It's fun to watch them do things with Taysom. So I guess we'll have to see. But we're gonna move on to the second team in the NFC South, which I have as the Falcons. Where do you see their season going?
Yeah, and so I've got them at 6-11 right now. They could definitely surprise everybody and become a wild card team. They're strong. I really like the draft pick. Dude, this let me tell you, this tight end from Florida, Kyle Pitts, is gonna be I mean, I'm not gonna say future Hall of Famer, but he easily could be, man. He's an absolute physical freak. I'm excited to see what Matt Ryan, who loves the tight end, can do with him. They got a new coaching staff. You know, their defense is still kind of weak, but we'll see. I have them 6-11, but they could definitely surprise me. They could be a dark horse.
Yeah, I could 6-11 is definitely reasonable. I have them at 5-12, so one game off. I just think Arthur Smith is going to be picking up a team that is dysfunctional and that can't really win. They went 4-12 in 2020, and I just don't see them having much of a better season. They lost Julio, so that they lost a generational talent, and they probably gained a generational talent. So I feel like it just kind of cancels out there. I think fantasy wise, those Matt Ryan and Kyle Pitts will be fire, obviously, but um, I just don't see them having a good season. I think they'll probably have another, like I said, 5-12 season, maybe 6-11, like Luke said, and drafting a quarterback next year. So we're on the same page, I think, for the Falcons. We're gonna be moving on to the next team in the NFC South. I'm saving the best for last for you. So we're gonna be talking about the Bucks now. Where do you think their season's going?
I mean, what else can you say? They brought back pretty much everybody who made their team poppin' last year. And now they even have even more experience under their belt. You know, it's tough to not see them dominating. I have them at 14-3. I think they're having an absolutely fantastic season. I've got their losses to the Rams, the Bills, and the Panthers one time. So I'm excited to see what they're gonna do, man. It's watching the GOAT still play at gonna be 44 now this year is gonna be incredible to watch, and I don't see them slowing down anytime soon.
Yeah, they retain their entire roster as you mentioned. I think that's definitely gonna help them have a similar season to last year. I've got them at 13-4. They lost 5 games last year, or six. I think it was six actually.
11-5 they were
Oh,
last
it was
year.
five. Okay, but I think they're gonna start a little slow. Maybe lose a road game early on in the season, maybe two early on in the season, but then they'll just start dominating. I don't see them having a very different year than last year. I think Ray and I are on the same page. I've got them 13-4. He's got them 14-3. So there's not much more to talk about for the Bucks. It's just kind of the same team that just
Sir,
won a Super Bowl, so you can't say much.
defended champs.
But we're gonna be moving on to the last team in the NFC South. Say the best for last. We got Racewag's Carolina Panthers. What are they doing this year?
Let's go. All right. So I got my boys in Bank of America Stadium going 12-5 this year. I think the addition of Sam Darnold is going to be huge. Our defense has gotten a lot stronger and a lot more experience, which is important. Our receiving core is going to be great. We had a really good draft. I'm excited to see the double-edged sword of Christian McCaffrey and Chuba Hubbard. And I think we have a wild card appearance this year. I got us at the 5th seed right now. And yeah, I think we go 12-5. I'm excited to see what we do. And let's go. I just can't wait. Give me the football, man. Let's go.
Um, I mean, I think you guys
Come
will
on
see
now. You
improvement
got to
from
be
last
nice.
year.
Come on
You
now.
guys will have improvement from last year for sure.
Okay. All
Definitely, you're
right.
not gonna have a similar season to last year. You're not gonna go. What was it? 5-11, or was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was 5-11.
I have you guys at 8-9.
Okay.
I think Sam Darnold is an absolute upgrade from Teddy Bridgewater,
Mm.
but the Panthers have a difficult schedule, and I don't see them in their division and with their schedule having a winning record. Obviously, it's possible they could go 9-8 or a 10-7. I don't see 12 wins looking at their schedule. You guys play like the Bills, the Patriots, the Cardinals, Dolphins. Like you got a lot of hard games.
I mean, we
And
beat the Cardinals 2 years in a row, brother.
yeah, of course. It's always a possibility, but those are hard games. And
I hear you.
along
I
with
hear you.
being in a division that's always going to be competitive, uh, I think I think they go 8-9 or 9-8.
Okay.
Probably nothing crazy. Sam Darnold's got big shoes to fill. People are, well, I guess not really big shoes to fill. But
Well, kind of, right? Because we're still looking for a replacement from Cam, kind of, sort
yeah,
of.
yeah. His expectations are high because
Yeah, 100%.
a lot of people have chalked down his performances in the New York Jets to just that failure of an organization.
Adam Gase all
So
day.
he really has to prove himself here, and I think that's probably going to be pretty nerve-wracking for him. But I think that he's better than Teddy Bridgewater, and I think that'll probably outperform what he did last year. As long as the Panthers can stay healthy, they will see improvement this year and last year. And I think they're on an uphill trend. So I guess we'll have to wait and see how their season pans out. But yeah, that wraps up the NFC South. So did you had the Bucks as the winners, Panthers second. I guess for me the Panthers were second too. I didn't realize that, but they had the second best record in my projections. So yeah, we both had Bucks Panthers, just a little different records for the Panthers. All right, we're gonna be moving on to the clown division of the NFC, the NFC least. And we're going to be starting it off with the Washington football team. I'm going to be starting us off for all these because it's my division, my turn. I think obviously Ryan Fitzpatrick is a massive upgrade from Taylor Heineke and Kyle Allen. Um, they acquired Curtis Samuel in the offseason. It's a familiar name for you. Uh, he's a pretty good wide receiver. He was a great wide receiver 3 in Carolina, and I think he'll be a great wide receiver 2 in Washington behind Scary Terry. This team has an extremely talented young defense, and I see them going 9-8, and I think this will be a real above average season for Washington. I think that 9-8 record is pretty fair. What do you think about the Washington football team?
Yeah, so I also have them at 9-8. I don't necessarily think that Fitzpatrick is a big upgrade over Taylor Heineke. I think Taylor showed some real grit last year, only losing to the Bucks by about a touchdown. He played very well in that playoff game in the wild card. And I definitely think, with his 2-year deal, they can definitely see him at the very least a strong backup, if not a starter, if Fitzpatrick falters a bit, which was the case in Miami last year when Fitzpatrick was there. Ron Rivera's got that defense playing very hard. I'm excited to see what he's gonna have cooking up. Right now, I've got them at 9-8, but they easily could, have a slightly better record and make the playoffs with the way that defense plays up there in Washington.
Yeah, hopefully not. Hopefully not better than 9-8. However, I don't think in Miami they just kind of put 2 in because they thought it was his time. For Fitzpatrick wasn't playing bad when they put him in. I remember it was a bit of drama when Fitzpatrick came in because he was or not when Tua came in because Fitzpatrick was playing well and they were winning games. But I think Ryan Fitzpatrick is just gonna at the beginning of the season show some magic. Maybe Tyler Heineke does come in, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. I think that team's gonna be dangerous. Though they're gonna be scary. They're the type of team that can just take a game from anybody, And we're going to be moving on to the next team in the NFC, which is the Giants. And let me tell you, Daniel Jones is not that guy, pal. He's not that guy. They're forming this team around him, man. And I don't know what they're thinking. Like, they're going to give him the weapons, right? He's got Saquon back this year. They're giving him Kenny Golladay. So he's got Kenny Golladay, Sterling Shepard, Darius Slayton, Evan Ingram, Kyle Rudolph, John Ross. He's got the weapons. And, this guy fumbled 30 times last year. And the year before that. Like, he can't hold the ball. Any sort of pressure and he folds. He's a goofball. He had broke free and fell down at the 20-yard line, man. He's just not the quarterback for the Giants, and I don't see this team ever being successful with him leading the team at quarterback. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel the same way. I've got the Giants at 6-11. They sort of got bailed out with some of the games even last year, and they could have even had a worse season. I mean, I'm here's the thing. Okay, now there's no room to gripe if you're Daniel Jones. Okay, you've got a powerhouse offense. You really do. You've got Sterling Shepard. You've got Saquon Barkley. You've got Kenny Galladay. You've got Evan Ingram. I believe they acquired another really good tight end too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Kyle Rudolph.
There you go. Thank you. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what the Giants are going to do because Big Blue is always fun to watch if they're good, but I really don't think they're. I agree. I don't think Daniel Jones is that guy as well. So I got him at 6-11 right now, but we'll see what happens. Balls in his court.
Yeah, I forgot to mention I have them at 5-12.
Gotcha.
But yeah, they have a decent defense. It's above average for sure, but their offensive line isn't great. Yeah, Nate Solder, that's about it. They're just not going to perform, I don't think. And now we're going to be moving into an even worse team in the NFC East, the Eagles. Now, let it be known that if the Eagles had potential to be a dominant team, I would say that. But this is my unbiased opinion that they do not have potential to be a dominant team this year. Now, they are rolling with Jalen Hurts. Last year, when he first came in, he was extremely good. And anyone who was talking to me last year or followed me on Twitter, I was tweeting like, I can't believe they waited this long to put Jalen Hurts in. Like, this guy is the sauce. He's so talented. I completely acknowledge it. I'm not someone who just blindly hates because I'm a Cowboys fan. However, in his last few games that he played, he really died off. His stats leveled out, and he looked awful. Between the 4 games he played last year, he went 1-3. He had a 52% completion percentage and a 77 QBR. This team is in complete rebuild mode. They looked so dysfunctional last season. I don't see them having a good year. They did not have a good year last year. And I've got them going 4-13 this year. What about you, Ray?
Yeah, I also have them at 4-13 right now. I do think that Jalen Hurts he's got a lot of potential. I don't think he's bad. I think a lot of these struggles that both he and Carson Wentz experienced in their time in Philly so far has to do with the old coaching staff, with the Jordan Peterson regime. Although, unfortunately, I don't think Nick Sirianni as the head coach necessarily is the answer either. He's already kind of fumbled a press conference or two. But I will say, I love the pick of Devontae Smith. And I think him and Jalen Hurts can have some real great chemistry. And they could definitely make some noise. If the NFC East turns out to be one of these NFC least type divisions like it was last year, they could definitely put together sort of an interesting combo there. And their defense is always going to be kind of good. So, I wouldn't write the Eagles off right just yet, but I definitely don't think that it's going to be really a pop-in season, unfortunately, for them.
I have a theory for this Eagles season.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know who their backup quarterback is?
No, not Ryan Mallett. I forgot his name.
It's not. You would know his name. You would know him if you knew who it was, because I think a lot of people forgot about this. It's Joe Flacco.
What?
Joe Flacco is the quarterback 2 on the Eagles.
Did not know that.
And then it's Nick Mullins. But regardless,
Nick Mullins, okay.
I think Jalen Hurts. Interesting. I think Jalen Hurts is gonna, if he plays like he did at the end of last year, he's gonna lose his starting job pretty quick. And I think Joe Flacco will come in. I like Jalen Hurts. Played in the Big 12. I watched him in person play twice, and I want him to do well. But if he plays like he did at the end of last year, it was just pathetic. So I think if he plays like that, he'll lose his starting job. If he plays like he did in the first 2 games, he will keep his starting job, and they'll probably be a successful team. Yeah. In terms of the NFC East, they'll be a successful team, which means like 8 wins. But I think he'll probably lose his starting job to Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco will be thrown to like Devontae Smith, Jalen Reagor, Travis Fulgham, Dallas Goedert, and I think it'll be a funny team to watch, but I just don't see them having a great year. I think, we both agreed 4-13. I think that's pretty realistic for them. But we're going to be moving on to my Dallas Cowboys, led by Rain Dakota Prescott. I believe the Dallas Cowboys will go 6-0 in their division. I think they'll easily win the NFC East. I think they are the most stacked team in the NFC. I think with the moves they've made to their defense, they're going to have at least a top 15 defense. I think they're going to have a top 5 offensive line and a top 5 offense. I have them going 12-5, and Yeah, there's not much more to say. I think they're going to be phenomenal this year. As long as we stay healthy, I don't see us having issues. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Cowboys win the division. I have them at 11-6 right now. 5-1 in the division. Their only loss being to the Washington football team, one of the games. I think they're going to have a really strong start, really strong. They play the Bucks right away, so that'll be interesting.
Yeah,
But other than that, which is a possible loss, which they could win, but we'll see. It'll be great. That'll be a great game, by the way.
I'm
Opening
so
up
excited.
football.
So
Yeah,
excited.
I'm hyped for that game. But I definitely think they'll kind of be in a battle mid-season for first place with Washington. But then week 14, they play Washington. 15, they play New York, and 16, they play Washington again. And I think that's where they'll lose and then end the season with 2 wins. And I think that's where they establish dominance in that division and end up taking up the division. I've got them 4th seed right now in
Going
the
into playoffs.
NFC. Yeah, going into the playoffs. So I'm excited to see Dak. I'm glad he's back, man.
Me
Hopefully
too.
everything's will be okay
I
with
mean,
him.
he I don't know if you saw yesterday in training camp, he
Yeah,
left
the
early with a
meniscus was
strain.
it? Something like that.
He has a strain in his arm, and they're taking it easy on him, so that worried me, man. God, dude, if he somehow gets injured this year, it'll probably crush my season, dude. I'll probably be so sad because I know last year I was having so much fun watching him, dude. Because the thing is, they were losing games, like they weren't having a good season. Their defense was the worst in the NFL. They looked ridiculous. They were losing games that they just definitely shouldn't have with their offense. And Dak was proving the haters wrong. Like, I mean, unironically, he's probably the most hated quarterback in the NFL for besides Tom Brady for literally no reason other than being a Cowboy.
Yeah.
And he was proving a lot of people wrong with his play last year before he got injured. And I wish he could have kept it going because I think he could have had an MVP-esque season last year. And I wish I would have gotten to see it. But enough of my Cowboys meat riding. I'm gonna stop because I know probably nobody wants to hear that. But we'll move on to the most competitive division in the NFL, the NFC West. We're gonna be kicking it off with the Los Angeles Rams. Where do you see their season going, Ray?
Yeah, so the Rams, I'm so hyped to watch this team, man. I'm so excited to see what Matt Stafford's going to do. It's unfortunate to hear about Cam Akers. I was really excited to see him
Yeah,
come into his own. He's out for season, I believe, correct?
yeah, he's getting surgery done, so
That's horrible.
probably
Prayers
out.
up to him. Hopefully he has a smooth and speedy recovery. I still have the Rams at 13-4, 5-1 in their division. I think they're going to be a dominant force in the West. I'm excited to see this team, dude. Nothing else really to say. Best corner in the league, Jalen Ramsey.
Yep.
Best interior defensive lineman and Aaron Donald. I'm hyped to see this team really. I think they're going to be a Super Bowl contender absolutely this year. I have them 13-4.
Yeah, and I think most people probably have them as Super Bowl contenders, especially with that acquisition of God, Matt Stafford. I don't know why I just brain farted there. When I lived in Georgia, all my friends were Georgia Bulldog fans, and that's when Matt Stafford was playing there. So I've always liked him. I've always been a fan of Matt Stafford, and I think he'll do really well in this team. They'll continue to be a powerhouse within the NFC. I got them at 12-5, so we're one game off of each other. I think they've got a pretty difficult schedule ahead of them, but they're gonna persevere and definitely be a contender in the not only the NFC, but the entire NFL. So I think we're seeing eye to eye. We're gonna move on to the San Francisco 49ers. Where do you see this season going, Ray?
Yeah, I definitely think the Niners are an interesting team. I think they'll have a better season than last. I think Jimmy G is going to really be trying to fight for his job here. I don't think Trey Lance even plays this season, if I'm being honest. I've got the Niners at 10-7, just squeaking into the playoffs with the 7th seed. I think they're going to be good for sure. Kyle Shanahan's always going to have his guys rocking, playing smart, playing well. You got Brandon Ayuk entering, what is this? Is this his second season or his third season
It's a
now? I don't
second.
remember. Second? Okay, yeah. So
Second season.
I'm excited to see him. I've got them at 10-7, like I said. I think Jimmy G plays the whole year and they get a wild card spot.
I think you're probably right. I think Jimmy G, as long as he's healthy, is playing this whole season out. I think they're going to pick up where they left off in 2019. We talked about this early on in this podcast. Not this episode, but a previous episode. I think it was the second one, maybe the first. But I think the 49ers will not only win the NFC West, but probably the entire NFC. This team is stacked. It's a pretty similar team to what they had in 2019 when they went to the Super Bowl. This defense is raw. They had the most injured team in 2020. It was actually the most injured team in the last 20 years.
Wow.
And I think that team is going to come back so motivated to just show that, 2019 wasn't a fluke year. They're a
Yep.
contender, and they're going to continue to be a contender. I have them going 14-3. I have their only losses their only losses to the Rams in LA, the Seahawks in Seattle, and against Green Bay in Week 3. I think those are the only games I see them losing. Obviously, the Cardinals could take a game. But yeah, they're a stacked team, man, and that they're gonna be a real powerhouse in the NFC West. So I'm a little more high on them than you are. I really like Brandon Ayuk out of Arizona State. Um, I really like the Kyle Shanahan. I like the way he coaches. They got Wes Welker as a wide receiver coach, Texas Tech legend, Patriot legend. Got high hopes for this team. But we're gonna go ahead and move on to the Arizona Cardinals. What do you think they're gonna end up doing?
Yeah, I think the Cardinals are going to surprise a lot of people. I think this is the year that they actually click. I think for a lot of people, this is Cliff Kingsbury's possibly last year if he doesn't get it together. And I really do think they will. I've got them at the 6th seed, just in front of the Niners at 11-6. I think Kyler gets those boys really, really playing well. And I think DeAndre Hopkins, the whole squad over there, I think they're going to play well. I'm excited. Looking at their schedule, I don't think it's as bad as some of the other teams, and I think they fight through the West, and I think they make the playoffs.
I would love that. I would love if they made the playoffs. I love Cliff Kingsbury. He, coached at Texas Tech. He coached Patrick Mahomes. I have really high hopes for this team, but I don't think they're gonna be making the playoffs this year. I have them going 9-8. It's close to your projection, but I think 9 wins isn't enough in the NFC West to make a wild card spot. I think Cliff Kingsbury, this probably is his last season. If he isn't successful this season, it's probably his last one. And I think that's like kind of unfair because I feel like he just got screwed over. Like he got put in the worst team in the best division like one of the worst teams in the NFL. He inherited a team with a first draft pick.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's also in the hardest division in the NFL. And you're going into a season where you're not supposed to win 6 of your games. And it's like, what is this guy supposed to do? It's really like I don't know. I hate it because has such a good offensive mind and he's such a good coach. And he gets so much crap from people in the NFL community and analysts because of his downfalls, but it's just like he never had a chance, man. He's playing in such a hard division. But I could see them winning 11 games. I would love that for Cliff. I would love if they won the NFC West. That's my favorite team in the NFC West. So if they were to win it, I would love that. I hope you're right and I'm not right. But we're gonna move on to the last team in not only the NFC West but the entire NFC. It'll be the Seattle Seahawks. Where do you see their year going, Ray?
Listen, the Seahawks are so, I don't know. They're so tough to like pinpoint because like they've got off-season issues. They've got coaching problems with what's going on with Pete Carroll. What's up with this play calling? Let Russ cook. All this stuff. Right now, okay, this might be a little surprising. I have them last in the West, missing the playoffs at 9 wins, 8 losses. I need to see a little bit more cohesiveness from the squad because they can't seem to get stuff going late in the season. And I either think they're going to not make the playoffs or absolutely pop and go off this year. But I think it's going to be tough. They're in arguably the best division in the NFL, and the Rams are only getting better. All the teams are only getting better.
Yeah.
And I just don't see the Seahawks like getting better. I don't know how else to say it, but I really love Russell Wilson, so I'm rooting for him. Russell Wilson, I'm a big Russ fan.
Yeah, I mean they're an annoying team. I would hate to be a Seahawks fan because every year they start out so hot, and then they just fall off at the end of the year. And I feel like they can't get their offense and defense clicking at the same time. I have them going 11-6. It's similar to last year, but I just, at the end of 2020, their defense was playing phenomenally. And had Russell Wilson match that level of play at the end of the year or the end of the season, they very well could have made a Super Bowl because that defense was playing locked down, but they just couldn't get the ball in the end zone. And
Mm-hmm.
but at the beginning of the season, Russell Wilson is doing everything, and they're giving up 40 points to every team in the country. So if those two factors, their defense and offense can click at the same time, they could very well be the best team in the NFL. So I guess we'll have to see. I don't see them having less than 10 wins unless Russ just dies the entire season. He always is strong in the beginning, so I think that'll carry them at least 10 wins. But I guess we'll have to see. Yeah, so you had the Rams in first, and the Cardinals in second, or was it 49ers in
That's
second?
correct. That's correct.
Okay.
49ers third.
So I had Niners first, Rams second, Seahawks third. So I guess we'll have to see how the NFC West plays out. It could go any way. All those teams have potential to win it. That's the crazy part about that division. All those teams could win the division and then make the Super Bowl if they wanted. But yeah, I think that's gonna wrap up today's episode, right? You have fun?
I had a blast, dude. I cannot wait for this NFL season. It's going to be one for the ages.
Yeah, I'm extremely excited. I had a ton of fun talking about this today. It gets me so excited for this football season. To anyone who's still listening along, thank you so much for sticking all the way to the end. We appreciate it so very much. And we love doing this, man. We're gonna keep making this content till we don't have fun anymore. So it could be, 2035 by that time.
I'm down for that.
But we appreciate all the support, seriously. Make sure you follow our socials, Huddle Break on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Thank you so much for taking a break from the huddle with us.